Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of NFL Turf Talk, presented to you by DSM Media. As you know, you can find DSM Media on Twitter at DSM_media, on YouTube at DSM Media, on TikTok at DSM Media, and on Instagram at DSM.DoSomethingMajor. Make sure to search us up on Facebook. Look for the DSM logo. You can find us on there as well at DSM Media. Hosts, my man Dylan, my co-host, faithful every weekend, every Sunday here on Turf Talk. Make sure you're following Dylan on all social media platforms at DylanJD98, and of course myself, Scotty at Scotty Drown across all social media platforms. How are we doing on this fine Sunday morning as we get ready to dig into the AFC East, AFC East, my friend.
Yeah.
I get confused with the North and the East here.
There we go.
I apologize, guys, but AFC East is what we're doing today. We're digging in. How are you doing today, my friend Dylan?
We're good, man. We're another Sunday closer to the regular season getting here. We are 5 days away from the Eagles' first preseason game. I'm assuming we're not going to get much of a look at the ones maybe at all this preseason, but nonetheless, to hopefully see them out there for a possession or so. It's still exciting. It still gets the blood pumping, and you know that football's back. But yeah, man, interesting division. Obviously, I think we're probably going to agree that there's a top dog to this division.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, everybody. But I think this division is definitely much improved from the previous two seasons, and it's a lot closer, maybe in the middle, in the margins, than it has been in the past. And the gap from 1 to 4 isn't as wide anymore. So, but we'll see. It'll be fun. We also have our top 10 wide receiver list to get to towards the end. If we have time, we'll talk about some Eagles training camp notes. But already seeing Jason and George talking in the chat here. And guys, like Scotty said, if you head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, like this video. If you want to be interactive on the show today, we can pull your comments, questions up on the screen, get involved. Tell us your top 10, your predictions for this division. We'll just have some fun.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And guys, I know Dylan mentioned it. I do see Jason and George going at it in the chat here.
They're agreeing. I think they're agreeing today.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they got some good points in there. So we'll definitely dig some of these comments up as we go through the AFC East here. Yeah, but it's an interesting division. I have some question marks throughout the division myself. Just some things that I find interesting about the division as you look more closely at it. But before we start with, getting into the actual division, what's going on there, let's take a look at, what happened in the offseason, a couple of the key additions, key subtractions for each team. We could start with the Patriots. They didn't have an overwhelming offseason, let's be honest. They went out, they traded for Devontae Parker from the Miami Dolphins, fellow division rival. So they took one of their wide receivers. They brought back in Malcolm Butler at the cornerback. They brought in Jabril Peppers, a nice strong safety, I guess. But nothing overwhelming as far as additions for the Pats. As far as losses, so they lost J.C. Jackson. That's probably the biggest one of the best corners in the league. He goes over to the Chargers. They lost an offensive guard, Ted Carew. They lost Kyle Van Noy. We know one of their defensive leaders. Shaq Mason, also an offensive guard. They lost two offensive linemen there, and then Brandon Bolden, the running back. But the biggest one being the offensive lineman, and I think J.C. Jackson. You talk about the offensive line, which brings stability to Mac Jones' rookie season there, where he looked like the best rookie quarterback, right? He had the best numbers and the most wins, but is he really the best? We're going to find out that this year. When you're looking at the Patriots, is there anything that sticks out to you there, Dylan? If not, we could keep moving to the Dolphins, but just wondering if you have any thoughts on the Patriots offseason.
Nothing that sticks out, but it's kind of, I forget what division we broke down maybe 2 episodes ago or so. And we kind of just said, the team, they're not bad. They might even be good. They could be in a wild card run, but they didn't do anything in the offseason to improve. The Patriots, I know they went out they got Devontae Parker. I've seen a couple different reports on the NFL Network that he's really impressing in camp, and that they had their wide receiver one that they've been looking for with Mac Jones, but they didn't do anything to grab my eye and to say, okay, with Mac, they can compete with the Bills, or even, I don't even know if they might be a fringe wild card team. They might be around that 9-8 mark. And they just had a very bleh kind of off season.
Yeah, and I think that's where the conversation gets interesting, probably around the Patriots and the Dolphins as we, move into the Dolphins offseason additions and subtractions. I think that 2-3 spot is where things get interesting in the division, but we'll obviously talk about that.
Yeah, well, and George brings up a great point that we didn't even mention in subtractions.
That's fair.
He's in Vegas now, so
very good point, George. I appreciate you pointing that out. Because that is a huge thing. You talk about their offensive coordinator for how long now? they lost and brought him back. So stability is a huge thing there, and I think on the other side of that is the instability. I know, Coach Belichick, he's kind of been against like naming an offensive coordinator. I think he has Matt Patricia and another coordinator there, but they won't name an offensive coordinator, so just keeping it open and just kind of weird Patriot things. Things they do up there in New England are kind of different, of course. As we look at Miami, they obviously had a pretty stellar offseason. And, I just pointing back to some of the comments, through that have been already left here in the comments from Jason and George. And I think Jason said it specifically, but Hurts and Tua are in very similar situations.
For sure.
They're in very much prove-it situations. They've had a plethora of weapons placed around them, a solid defense on the other side. But just to get specific, obviously the biggest name was Tyreek Hill. They bring him in, they extend him. He's had nothing but high regards to say about Tua Tagovailoa. And it's interesting to see how the narrative is kind of switching now to where there's a lot of optimism around Tua and him being the most accurate quarterback in the NFL and having a cannon.
Yeah, he's blowing smoke, but come on.
Tyreek Hill, man, he's speaking highly of Tua.
I know it's your QB, dude. I get it. What T.O. say when he was crying, that's my quarterback. I get it. The most accurate quarterback in the league, dude. You just played with Patrick Mahomes for 4 years in a row, and you're going to tell me that Tua is the most accurate quarterback, not that you've played with, in the league. Stop blowing smoke, bro. Like, I know it's your guy. I know you're trying to talk him up. I get it. I'm not saying they can't have an explosive season together. Stop blowing smoke. Exactly. Yeah, exactly, George. You're like, come on, bro. Like, I get it. It's your guy. It's your guy. Don't blow smoke like that.
That's a good label for it, George. Lip service. That's exactly what it is. Building your guy up. That's a funny part, just as we continue to think about AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts. AJ Brown sticks up for Jalen Hurts. He does not say he's the number one quarterback in it.
Yeah. Like, come on, bro.
There's lines you don't cross there.
Miami should be fun, man. Like you said, they had a hell of an offseason. You mentioned the big addition in Tyreek Hill, but you can even go to their backfield. They already had Chase Edmonds and Myles Gaskin here. Myles Gaskin is now the number 4 on the depth chart. They brought in Raheem Mostert. If he could stay healthy, I think people forget Raheem Mostert was very, very good. Now, that might just been the system in San Fran that Shanahan has in place, but Raheem Mostert is a nice back if he can stay healthy. They also went out and got a Super Bowl champion in Sony Michel, who played a key role for the Rams last year. So they're stacked in the backfield. Now, obviously, having 4 running backs can also be a problem. Not all 4 are going to see the field, and they shouldn't. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But they had a very good offseason for this year. They also just got in some recent trouble that is going to cost them in the future, specifically next year when they lose their first-round draft pick for tampering reasons when they tried to bring Tom Terrific and Sean Payton over between 2019 and like 2021, I believe. So when you talk about the similarities, can I speak today, Scotty? Between Hurts and Tua, you're right. And everything lines up to be the same. Came from the same school, Young, Waddle, Devontae Smith, both have to prove it. Similar styles. I get all that. But when you talk about the timeline, this sounds weird because we know Hurts' timeline is this year as well, but I guess what I mean is it has to work for Miami. Take the quarterbacks aside. It doesn't have to work for the Eagles. It almost has to work with Tua and Miami now that they are out their first-round draft pick next year. They lost third in 2024. They're almost strapped to him for at least 2 more years. So if his leash extends, but they need him to be the guy, or else their roster means nothing for the next 2+ seasons.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny. I'm glad you brought up the situation, because it was about to slip my mind as far as what the Dolphins got in trouble for. And there's been a lot of discussion last week, and it's been a whirlwind of Deshaun Watson talk and
Right.
the Miami Dolphins penalties for Stephen Ross. I'm actually just interested, Dylan, because I know you talked a little bit about what they're losing there. Do you think that was a large enough fine, a large enough punishment for the Miami Dolphins and their owner?
Well, in terms of the owner, he was fined what, 1.5 mil?
1.5
And
mil.
I know that sounds like a lot, but he's a multi-billionaire. So, I mean,
Yeah.
he's just going to write a check real quick. It's not going to hurt him in his pockets. But nonetheless, it still is over $1 million fine. And then man, I think it's pretty substantial. This isn't the NBA where, like, let's say the Sixers right now, if they get charged with tampering for the PJ Tucker signing, or the Knicks get charged with tampering with the Jalen Brunson signing, what are they going to hit him with? Maybe a 2nd-round pick next year or something. Like, it doesn't matter the same. In the NFL, like, you just took a 1st rounder. That's important. Yeah. That's going to hurt them. And then you took a 3rd rounder the following year.
Yeah.
Which, it's not a 1st rounder, but that's still an important pick for their future. And,
Chill, George. I just saw Danny Dimes come in the comments there. We got a whole NFC East division to cover that we can talk about Danny Dimes for you. But I get.
I agree with his first comment. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying like I care about it. I'm just saying, like, the league came down on him, and it is what it is now. I agree. I have no problem.
It's just interesting. It's interesting the way these penalties and these disciplinary actions are being laid out. And I don't mean that I'm not judging any of them, because it's really hard to compare all of them together. And like, when you look at a 6-game suspension for Watts, and you look at a full season suspension for Calvin Ridley, you look at, a 1st-round pick taken away from the Dolphins. It's like, you can't really compare it, but it is just interesting to see the levels here. But overall, I would agree with you and George as far as tampering. Players talk to each other. I mean, you mentioned the NBA. I mean, I don't know why they even have tampering in the NBA anymore. You had the entire league at
right. Like, are you going to hit? Like, you can't just You can't just pick the Sixers and the Knicks this season. Because why? Because at 6:01, PJ Tucker was announced to the 76ers. At 6:32, 19 players already signed. There wasn't tampering going on there. They didn't know where they were going before it opened up. Like, stop it, man.
But enough on the tangent. We went off on a little bit of tangent. We had to talk about the Dolphins issues there, because that is serious. And it also stems back to Tua. He's getting questions about, how do you feel about the Dolphins going out and talking to Tom Brady? Which it's the GOAT. Don't take it, take that with a grain of salt, Tua. But nonetheless, they have been inquiring about a lot of different quarterbacks over the last few months. So nonetheless, Dolphins, they look exciting. They look like they can be fulfilled, but can Tua be that guy? Similar to what we'll say about Jalen Hurts later on. Looking to the Bills, who I think we would agree are the overwhelming favorite in this division. They add a few pieces in the offseason, guys that I think honestly contribute towards a championship. You talk about Von Miller coming from the Rams, just won a Super Bowl, his 2nd Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, also won one with the Denver Broncos. They pick up Jamison Crowder, and I think that is such like, no, they don't need weapons. But he's such like a niche player that, like, on 3rd down, he's going to be such an annoying player to have to defend on that Bills offense, because he does certain things so well, and they can just put him in those spots the entire time. That's the only plays he's going to be in. And then they did add a nice young running back in James Cook out of college. I like him as well. And they needed to bolster up their backfield. Also, O.J. Howard, young athletic tight end. He's a guy who has some talent there. Shaq Lawson, another talented defensive player there. Losses, Mitchell Trubisky, not a huge deal. Obviously, they have Josh Allen there. Mario Addison, Levi Wallace, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley. They have kind of a changing of the guard at wide receiver aside from Stephon Diggs. But No huge losses. Thoughts on the Bills, Dylan?
They improved within the margins, right? Like they did. Like Von Miller is technically a splash pickup, but he's another year older. I know he just helped the Rams win a Super Bowl, but he is getting older. He's not that fierce edge rusher he used to be, right? But it still helps. Jameson Crowder, I agree. You said they lost Emmanuel Sanders. They lost Cole Beasley, 2 possession receivers. Emmanuel Sanders was nice in the slot for them. But I agree. Crowder is, I think he fits in perfectly between Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis in the slot, or if Davis wants to play in the slot. It doesn't matter. That's a very under talked about pickup for them. Like I said, they're already right there. That they were right here last year from beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs to go to the AFC Championship, and who knows how that championship game plays out. So they did what they can to improve here and there. And like you said, these are all moves that will help them try to get back towards the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. And I like what you said as far as like working the margins there, because I think that's the biggest part. Nothing overwhelming. You didn't have to go out. Obviously, they gave the bag to Von Miller, but aside from that, they didn't have to spend too much money, and why would they? As we move on, we'll get to the last team in the division, the New York Jets. So we look at the Jets. We haven't talked about the Jets at all this offseason, so I'm interested.
No, that's surprising considering Zach Wilson was the talk of the offseason for a little bit.
He was, but just looking at additions, subtractions for the Jets this offseason. We talked about Jamison Crowder. He was a nice veteran receiver. They lost. Marcus May, safety, they lost. Oh my goodness, George is a funny dude, man. Marcus May, they lost, a nice safety. As far as additions, they actually recently picked up Quan Alexander to go with CJ Mosley in that linebacking unit. CJ Mosley, the forgotten linebacker, he was like so highly touted when he was in Baltimore's defense, which aren't all linebackers when they're in Baltimore's defense, honestly. Laken Tomlinson, nice offensive guard they've added to protect Zach Wilson. They added a few tight ends, CJ Uzama being the main one that I saw. Coming from Cincinnati. Our guy, Nate Herbig, got a nice pickup with the New York Jets.
Congrats, Nate.
But I really liked what they did sign Vinny Curry back. And he's coming back from, I believe it was like a blood clot issue.
I think so,
that. Heart condition, something of those sorts. I really like what the Jets did in the draft, though. I like their 3 draft selections in Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson III, and Garrett Wilson. I think those are nice, young, talented players to go alongside Zach Wilson for your future. Elijah Moore, they got some guys in that backfield. Breece Hall, they also added in the draft, a nice running back. And then you had what was the running back from last year from UNC? Michael Carter. Michael Carter. He's a nice, solid running back as well.
And they also went out and drafted Sauce.
Yeah, Sauce. Sauce is that was probably top 3 player in the draft for me, just as far as like if there was any way the Eagles could get him, I would have loved that. But obviously he went like number 3 or number 4 in the draft. So nonetheless, thoughts on the Jets, their offseason, their draft, maybe. Any thoughts to go here?
They're fine. They're young, right? And I see Jason talking about it in the comments as well. And we have a comment. If Wilson can't make it work with these weapons, he's a fraud. They're just super young. Like I like Elijah Moore. They already have Corey Davis. CJ Uzuma comes over. Garrett Wilson's young. Their backfield is extremely young. Sauce, extremely young. I like their front a little bit. You add Vinny Curry for some depth, but you have Sheldon Rankins, Quinnen Williams, like you said, CJ Mosley, and then Quan Alexander. They've improved. They're young, and they're going to be more watchable than they've been in the past.
Yeah, that's a good
However, I'm seeing a lot of overreact. I've seen quite a few people predict the Jets to win 7 or 8 games this year. 7-10 is a record I've been seeing a lot of. And, man, I'm not getting it.
So do they when you're seeing this, are they, like, putting them over the Patriots? Like, or are they just getting 7 wins at the bottom?
No, at the bottom. Like I've seen a lot of predictions where the Bills are in first with like 13 wins. Dolphins and Patriots are both like 9-8, 8-9, and then you have the Jets at 7-10. And I agree. Like this is another question mark as a young quarterback. But even so, like even if he shows something, like I said, they're so youthful that they can be fun to watch. I don't think they're not going to know how to win games this year.
Right.
They're not going to know if they're in a close game against Bill Belichick and the Patriots in Foxborough. They're not going to know how to close that one out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to cover Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Mike Gesicki. And they can be fun. They're more watchable because in the past they've been the worst or a bottom 2-3 team in the league for the past 3-4 years. But it doesn't do anything to me record wise. Like I think 5 wins is maybe generous for them. I agree, honestly, Jason. There's no shot they get to 7.
I'll be honest with you. I went through like I do every week and kind of glazed through their schedule. I did have them at 5 wins. Maybe I am being generous even with that. I'm not going 7. No way in hell. Not in this division. That would mean that they're getting wins within the division. I just don't. Yeah. Hey, and I did want to point this out to you. Ocho Cinco's comments on Zach Wilson out of Jets camp.
What did he say? That
he's Patrick Mahomes-ish.
Okay, can I say something real quick?
He said he's not saying he's Patrick Mahomes level of talent, but he's Patrick Mahomes-ish.
No disrespect to one of the GOATs. But everything, and I get it, he's just trying to spread positivity. I'm not saying he should be on social media or in interviews tearing down young players or anything. Yeah. But sometimes it's better to not say anything at all than to just say something blatantly false. He's positive about everything and everybody. Like, and maybe he's right about Jalen Reagor. I've seen him after John Clark tweeted out that Jalen Reagor scored a touchdown in camp the other day. He quote tweeted and said, "I told y'all this is his year. Keep doubting him." Stop, man. Like we've seen the movie before. We know how it ends. Stop it. And yeah, exactly. But and I get it. He's trying to spread positivity. It's cool. He's helping out the youth. He goes to workouts with people. It's fun. You don't have to say things just to say them. Like,
yeah, no.
Come on. Zach Wilson is Patrick Mahomes-ish. Are you joking?
You're just putting some lofty, words behind Zach Wilson's name, but nonetheless, I wanted to ask you before we get into the actual passing offense, rushing offense, all of the measurements here. Who do you think is the second best quarterback in this division?
Well, before we get into the passing attack,
or Mac Jones,
I think I'm putting Wilson last just because I haven't I'm serious. I haven't seen
I feel you. I do. Feel
you. I think Mac is the better product right now than Tua, but I think with the weapons in Miami, I think Tua can have the better year. I think Mac's a better quarterback as of right now than Tua is, but I think Tua can have a better year and still continue to grow. Mac just came in so polished out of college, and he's a game manager in New England. He was good last year.
Yeah.
Tua continues to have his ups and downs. But I think with the addition of Tyreek Hill and all those weapons, I think Tua can have the better, more explosive season than Mac Jones.
Yeah,
which is interesting in terms of passing offense.
Case Keenum.
Yes, sir.
Second best quarterback. It's an interesting conversation, but it kind of leads us into the passing offenses within this division. And as we look at them, I can go first with this one if you like, Dylan.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of just
we'll probably breeze through these.
Yeah, I think so too. So passing offense, this one is interesting because I know we just talked about quarterbacks, and I would tend to agree with you. I think Mac is probably the more polished quarterback right now. I would lean to just as far as futuristic standpoint.
Yeah, I agree.
But looking at this division, I have the Patriots as my fourth passing offense in the division.
All right.
And part of it is the weapons. I know we talked about Devontae Parker earlier. Apparently he's looking like wide receiver 1. I believe that when I see it. Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers. I do like him, but once again, is that your wide receiver one? I don't think so.
No.
Hunter Henry, solid tight end. They have a bunch of solid players. Like, they have solid running backs. They have solid wide receivers. But there's nobody that just blows your mind away and, tells me that they're going to be able to have a guy that's going to win them games, right? Mac Jones, I think, needs a guy similar to Tua, similar to Jalen Hurts, like that, a guy that can make up for some of his deficiencies. And I just don't see anybody on that roster right now that does that. Number 3, and maybe this is giving credit to Zach Wilson, or maybe I just really like the Jets, weapons. But I do have the Jets as the number 3 passing offense. And the reason being, obviously, you add Garrett Wilson, you have Elijah Moore, who I absolutely love from their draft class last year. You talk about the running backs, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, options out of the backfield. You add CJ Uzoma. They added another tight end too, so I'm forgetting his name, Tyler Conklin. So I think he came from Minnesota. Yeah, solid, nothing overwhelming, but as a second tight end, not bad. Corey Davis, who you mentioned earlier, he was a first-round pick by Tennessee a couple years ago, so he has a little bit of upside to him there, but he's overall just a solid receiver. But if Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore can amount to anything, as far as being towards a star, and I think both of them have the qualities that they could. I lean more Elijah Moore, like Jason just said there, but I think they have some nice weapons there in New York, and we'll see how Zach uses them. That could be the deterrent there, compared to the Patriots. Number 2, obviously, I'm going Miami at this point. You could have guessed that. Tua, you add Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to talk too much. I'll let you digress on that. 1, I have the Buffalo Bills, obviously, who I think, maybe the number 1 offense in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Definitely one of the top passing offenses, if not the best passing offense in the NFL. And Josh Allen, man, we'll see, but he's been in the MVP combos the last few years. This year feels like that year where he leads the way in that combo. We'll see how it plays out, but those are kind of my feelings right now.
So we agree, just accept the bottom half of this ranking. And, you make a great argument. I would say I like the upside of the Jets offense more than I do the Patriots. But I just think the Patriots are a little bit more consistent. I know, as George is saying, with the coaching, with the McDaniels leaving and what are they going to do offensively? Devontae Parker is not a wide receiver 1, but I think they have stability within the wide receiving core and with Hunter Henry. I just think there'll be a consistent. I don't know. I need to see it with the Jets. I need to see it from Zach Wilson first.
Zach Wilson had some turnover issues last year. Yeah. Like, I do get that part of it, for sure.
So I have the Jets at 4 simply because it is all I need to see. Patriots at 3, and then I agree. Dolphins and 2, Bills 1. Josh Allen. I know people are already starting to crown him QB1 out of 32. I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit there. Yeah. I think there's about 2 guys he still needs to jump, maybe just 1. But nonetheless, he's a top 3, top 4 quarterback in this league. Yeah. I agree with you. This could finally be his year that he wins an MVP. This could be his year he leads them to a Super Bowl. Yeah. Stephon Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. You bring in Jamison Crowder, and then, the Dolphins are just more so because of talent.
Yeah.
Like, quite frankly, I know they're saying Tua has the higher ceiling, et cetera, et cetera. If you swapped, if you put Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the Patriots, I'm taking Mac and the Patriots over Tua and whoever they have. But they don't. The Dolphins have them. So I'll go Bills 1, Dolphins 2, Patriots 3, Jets 4 for passing offense. Rushing offense is interesting. Man, I was going to tell you to go first just so I can see where. So here's the thing. Here's my overall feeling about these running backs and the rushing attacks in this division. They're all guys. They're all like the Bills, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. You mentioned James Cook. You have the Jets with the upside in Breece Hall and Michael Carter. They even have Tevin Coleman still. Yeah. And you go to the Miami. They have 4 guys that can play or start for them, as I mentioned earlier. Then you go to New England with Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson and James White. And they're going to be probably the most balanced team out of all 4 in terms of rushing the football. And even though they don't have the guy. They have a bunch of guys that just get the job done behind that offensive line and that rushing attack. But again, what are they going to do post McDaniels? So we'll see. So this is very interesting to me. Here's my rankings. Jason, don't take my head off. I have the Jets 4. I see the upside. I see the youth behind that offensive line. Worries me. Are they going to be pass happy, trying to see what they have in Zach Wilson? I don't know if they are, going to be a highly touted rushing offense. At number 3, I have the Dolphins. You have a bunch of guys, no idea who's going to start, no idea who's going to be the 1-2 punch. They're definitely going to be pass happy. They're going to want to see what they have with Tua, all that explosiveness in the wide receiver room. They're not going to run the ball a ton, even though they have a decent amount of names in that backfield. At number 2, 1 and 2 is extremely difficult for me. I'm going to go Bills 2 because, again, I think they're going to be more pass happy. I think Allen is going to throw the ball a ton. And then I'll go Patriots 1 because I think they're the most balanced. I think the system is in place already. I've seen Damian Harris and James White for years now in this backfield get it done. So very, very hard to rank for me, but that's where I'll go.
Yeah.
George going to Bills 1. I don't disagree. Like I can't really make a case. I just think that the Patriots are going to be more balanced of an offense. They're going to run the ball more, and it'll be effective. They'll run the ball.
Stick with it more, and I think you have a point there with the Pats. I don't know. I think George might have flipped my mind because I was going a totally different direction. I'm kind of thinking differently now. I originally had the Jets, Bills, Pats, Dolphins. I had the Dolphins as number 1 just because I like their backfield.
Yeah, you like the names. They definitely have the most names. The problem is that necessarily a good thing?
Right.
What are you going to? You're not.
Do they fit? What does that?
Are you even keep? You're not keeping 4 running backs, are you?
Right.
There's no shot.
So I think I would keep the Pats where they are, and I think I would flip Dolphins. I think I would go 3 Dolphins, like you said. Just like you said, there's not a lot of defined roles. What's their system look like with Mike McDaniels?
Dude, they're going to throw the shit out of the ball.
They're going to throw the shit out of the ball. Yeah. So, I mean, and like Tua, in my mind, he's a mobile quarterback, but is he really a mobile quarterback?
He's not going to be. He's not going to be used like Lamar or like Jalen Hurts in the Eagles offense. Exactly. He's not going to be used like that.
And so
he can scramble, but
then I think Josh Allen in that Bills offense and Josh Allen in that motherfucking red zone, dude. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want that guy running at me. So I lean Bills number 1 there. Josh Allen aspect, and I do like what George said when you got guys across the division on each backfield, you do kind of have to go system. Which system is going to help the running backs be able to run more? And I think the Bills with that pass offense, it's going to open the run up. But it is weird to say the Bills, right? Like it's weird for me to say the Bills number 1 rushing offense because I do think the Pats will stick with it more.
Right. But Jason makes a point. Allen rushed for over 700 yards last year. So that plays a factor into it as well. He scores a ton inside the 10, inside the red zone with his legs. He'll run you over. He proved that a couple times last year, but
I like Josh Allen, man.
That was probably the weirdest ranking I had to do for this division because it's probably the closest that all 4 teams are in a specific area for me.
Yeah. I would agree.
Moving on to the defensive side of the ball again, dude, this is weird for me. I'll defer to you here on the pass defense.
Yeah. So passing defense, I'll kind of sweep through these, and it's kind of default with all of these for the Jets. Like the Jets are number 4, and it's not their fault. I like a lot of what they got going on in that secondary. Sauce Gardner, like I said, he was one of my favorite guys in the draft, but it's youth. I mean, they're young. It's as simple as that. They did lose a Marcus May as well, who was one of their veteran safeties. So Jets 4, Patriots 5, or excuse me, Patriots 3. I'm going the wrong way, my man. Patriots 3. I had a long day yesterday, guys. Patriots 3. You lose J.C. Jackson. You still got some veteran guys. The McCourty brother there. I think it's Devin is the one in New England. And then
I think it's Jason still. It's Jason now. Yeah. Oh no, it is Devin. I'm sorry. It's Devin.
I always get them confused, so I would
you're
lean your way.
Right.
I got it pulled up here now.
Yeah, no,
they had Jalen Mills. They brought in Malcolm Butler, Jabril Peppers, Adrian Phillips, Devin McCourty, Kyle Duggar. So solid in Bill Belichick's system. You could maybe say they're a little bit better than third, but when you look at the other two defenses in this division, the other two secondaries specifically, number 2, I'm going Dolphins. You talk about Xavier Howard, one of the best cover corners in the NFL. Byron Jones, one of the better cover corners in the NFL. They just have a ton of stuff going on there in Miami, and their defense was actually pretty good last year.
Yeah,
it caused a lot of turnovers. Javon Holland, he's another underrated safety. So they got some talent there in their secondary. Number 1, Buffalo Bills. Tre'Davious White, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer. Those guys are stacked there.
Injured, but still, I agree.
Yeah, and they added another Kyer Elam or Elam. Yep. I don't know exactly how to say his last name, but another stud rookie cornerback that should be able to step right in and be ready to go. And in that system, I they'll be able to help him out. But I like what the Bills have going on in that secondary. It's stable, like we talked about earlier. You got a lot of guys that have been there for years. So that's where I'm going.
Thank you, man. Then we have the same rankings. I came into this and I'm like, I don't want to. I
don't want to shit on the Jets, right? The Jets
and I'm like, what's he got? I'm like, I'll go to him. I 100% agree. I have Bills 1. I think their defense all around is a top 3 defense in the league. And then you get to that secondary. Tre'Davious White is one of the best corners in the league. Poyer's hurt. I don't know how serious it is, but you still have Micah Hyde. Like you said, you go out, you have Kyer Elam. I really like their secondary. And then the Dolphins with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. I think Xavier Howard is what Cowboys fans think Trevon Diggs is.
That's a whole other combo, man. This man deleted
we'll get to that next week, but yeah, I think that's what they think he is. And again, the Jets. It's kind of being disrespectful because I really don't care to be respectful towards the Jets, but I mean, Jordan Whitehead's a player. Sauce, I'm excited for, but okay. Outside of that, like DJ Reed, LaMarcus Joyner, they're so youthful. I don't know if they're going to be able to stop a nosebleed in their secondary. So we'll see. Pass rush. Again, this is an interesting one. I'll go first. At number 4, I'm going to go with the Jets. I like their front 7 a lot more than their secondary. Like I said, I like Sheldon Rankins. I like Quinnen Williams. I like CJ Mosley. You get Quan Alexander, Vinny Curry for some depth on your edge. But I still think they're 4, kind of because of how the rest of the division shapes out. I'll put the Patriots 3. I still think they're more of a defensive focused defense. But if you just go through the names in their front 7, not a lot of guys. Like Matthew Judon's going to be probably in top 10, top 15 in terms of pressures and sacks. But after that, they're lacking names. I just trust the system. I trust Bill as he's a defensive minded head coach. And I just think they'll kind of be stout up front. At number 2, I'm going with the Dolphins. Do I switch the Dolphins and the Patriots? Nah, I'll leave it, I guess. I'll go Dolphins 2. And then again, Bills are 1. You go out, you add Von Miller to this linebacking core. You have Tremaine Edmonds, Shaq Lawson, like you said, Ed Oliver, Gregory Rousseau. They're a top 3 defense in this league, and that in large part is due to their front 7 and their pass rush and run stopping ability. So, yeah, man, it's interesting again.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it there. And just the way you kind of laid out the overall aspect of your rankings there is exactly where I'm at. So Jets 4, Bills 1, they're superiorly talented. The names on that defense are ridiculous when you add in Von Miller and some of those other guys. And in between, pick your poison, Dolphins, Pats. I would probably lean Pats at 2, but it's going to be give or take. I think they're both pretty solid defenses in Miami and New England there. I think Dolphins are the more opportunistic defense. I think the Pats are the more stable defense. So just looking at it from that perspective. And then I think the Bills just have the overall best defense in the division. I think it's kind of as simple as that for me. But I tend to agree with you. Bills 1, Jets 4, Patriots and Dolphins somewhere in between.
I'm with you, man. I think it's the way for the entire division. I mean, excuse me. I think it's the way for all 4 rankings that we've done. It's kind of, for the most part, I know we had the Patriots as the rushing attack, but you can make the Bills there. You just had the Bills that are so defined and so talented from top to bottom. And then you have the Jets with all their youth, lack of experience, a lot of holes. And then the other 2 are kind of in the middle, flip-flopping between the Patriots and the Dolphins. And I think that's exactly how this division plays out. So to get to the standings, I had the Jets at 4, I had the Bills at 1, right? I think the Bills are going to win any 12, 13 games, right? I think they have a difficult schedule. I haven't checked it out fully, but they're going to win 12, 13 games. They're going to run away with this division, and they're going to compete for a Super Bowl this year. Then you have the Jets at 4. I know they're improved. They're going to be more fun to watch than in previous years. However, I still don't give them more than 5 wins this season. No way they're going 7-10, like I've seen some people suggest. And then it's whatever you really want to do between 2 and 3. I'm going to go Dolphins 2, simply because of the offseason acquisitions with their offense. Like you said, they already had a pretty good defense last year, and they have guys in their secondary that can turn you over and then give your offense short fields. You go out, you pair a young Jalen Waddle next to Tyreek Hill, who we're going to get into in a few moments with our top 10 list. You already have Mike Gesicki. You add to the running back core. It all comes down to what Tua can do. But overall, you just have a lot more talent than the Patriots. So I think you're looking really at the Bills running away. I think you're going to see the Dolphins win 9 or 10 games. I think you're going to see the Patriots win about 8 games, 7 to 8, and then you're going to see the Jets at the bottom. And that's kind of how every ranking in this division played out for me.
I like it. And so I'll go ahead and give you mine. So Jets, and I wanted to pull Jason's comment from the beginning of the show because mine are eerily similar to this. That's eerily similar to yours as well. I mean, Bills, I had the Bills marked at like 12 wins, number 1. I had the Dolphins marked at about 10 wins, so I do lean Dolphins over New England, just because of talent, like you said. Patriots, I have it about 7 wins, and then Jets, I did have it 5 wins, just going through their schedule very briefly, making picks. I think that's, far and away the way it's going to play out, and give or take with the Dolphins and Pats. I know George, I think he said he was leaning Pats over Dolphins. If their defense is, up to par with what it was last year, and Mac Jones can just make a slight improvement, not turn the ball over like he did last year, Patriots can still be a team that is in every single game that they're playing. So I can see that. And if the Dolphins, if that flounders out, man, if Tua is making bad decisions out there, if the question marks start pumping out
if Tua is not the most accurate quarterback in the
league. The first interception he throws, those question marks are going to come. Can he handle that pressure? My question to you, Dylan, as we kind of cap this division off, not thinking about the division. Okay, the Dolphins, the Pats, they mixing it up in the middle. Are the Bills, should they be the favorite in the AFC, in the NFL to win the Super Bowl? Are they the championship favorites right now, the number 1 team in your power rankings? And if not, who would be at the top of your head, off the top of your head?
And again, I great question, great point, because this is something we'll do closer to in a few weeks, closer towards the season on Turf Talk. We'll give our full power rankings here.
Right.
The only reason I say no, now they're probably 2. I think they're most likely my favorite to come out of the AFC at the moment. The problem is you have the defending Super Bowl champions who are better on paper than they were last year. And until you beat the guy, you can't be the guy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't mean head to head, but if the Rams start out sluggish and they're 1 and they're 2 and 3 and the Bills are 4 and 0, 5 and 0, my power rankings are obviously going to adjust week to week. But right now, I can't go from the best team in football last year who won the Super Bowl in the LA Rams, get better on paper, bring in an Allen Robinson to pair with Cooper Kupp and do some things defensively, and not have them number 1. The Rams are number 1 in my eyes right now. And I'd say the Bills are probably 2 or 3.
Okay. And I have no arguments for that. And I do like George's comment here about DeBoll leaving, kind of just not letting that slide by. That is a huge loss, talking about their offensive coordinator. He's kind of who helped build up Josh Allen to the point to where he is now. He kind of got that shit righted with him. So it is an interesting tidbit. Could things just go supremely wrong in Buffalo? By losing your offensive coordinator that kind of keeps everything glued together. We kind of saw that. I'm not comparing Josh Allen to Carson Wentz. We saw that when Frank Reich left Philly and Carson Wentz kind of fell apart, but not comparing the situations, obviously. But it shows you, what can happen when guys lose who they're comfortable with, the play callers they're comfortable with. So it is something to be notated there. But the Bills, it is interesting. And, I guess with the Rams, the reason I asked this question, and obviously the Rams go to the top of my list in the NFC just off the top of my head, but there's been some doubt creeping back in there with the Rams. And I've been hearing about the elbow tendonitis with Matthew Stafford. Has me a little worried. Just because I saw a comment from Sean McVay that I didn't really like. He said, the stuff with Matthew Stafford's elbow, it's just really weird for a quarterback. And I'm just like, weird in what way? I don't like that word. I don't like that word. But no worries until something official comes out on that. I would still lean Rams as my favorite in the NFL, but Bills are up there. And I like what George said there. Bills and Chargers, the favorites. Broncos going Super Bowl. I don't know about the Broncos, but I do love the Bills and Chargers.
That's his pick, dude. He's been preaching it on Trending.
And we will remember it, of course.
And I don't hate it. I
don't hate it.
I think Phil and Cole disagreed. It's not my pick, but I think that people are sleeping on Russ in Denver at the moment. So we will Tim Patrick obviously goes down, but we'll see, man. Next up, in terms of today's show, before we get to our all division draft, let's go over our top 10 wide receiver list. Get this out of the way. Probably some fun conversations to be had. Guys, if you're watching here live, feel free to, crush our list, agree with our list, give us your top 10 list, what you would tweak and fix. But here we go. It's going to be a little bit odd, me pulling this up on the screen because I can't get it on the side, but these are our top 10 wide receivers heading into 2022. To just gloss over them, as you can see, the top 5 for myself and Scotty are the same outside of the fact that I have Justin Jefferson at 4, Stephon Diggs at 5. He is Diggs at 4, Jefferson at 5. Scotty goes on after those top 5 to go Jamar Chase, Deebo Samuel, D-Hop, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown. I'm going D-Hop 6. I know the suspension hurts, but I feel like he's getting disrespected.
He's getting slept on.
I'm not even sure he's not still a top 4 wide receiver.
He's getting slept on.
For sure. Mike Evans, our only difference is you have CeeDee Lamb, I have Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans, again, got his hamstring already bothering him. Yeah. Got limped out of practice the other day.
Still balls out, though.
When healthy, he is an absolute monster. Jamar Chase at 8, A.J. Brown at 9, Deebo Samuel at 10. Our lists are very, very similar. Yeah. There's a few tweaks here and there. We have one guy on, one guy off in terms of this list. But what's your thought process here, man? We both had Davante Adams number 1, even though he's not in Green Bay anymore with Aaron Rodgers. And that's going to be a huge question this season is, did Rodgers make Adams great? Or is Adams already great and helped Rodgers? Like, we know that Rodgers can get it done without Adams. He's done it in the past. He's won a Super Bowl without the guy. Can Adams adjust with Derek Carr and in that Vegas offense?
Yeah. What I would say is, just question marks across all of these guys almost. I could go down each of our lists and have question marks for these guys. And, that's what I'm kind of realizing is maybe I gave a little more faith to Davante Adams with Derek Carr than, say, Cooper Kupp, who's coming back with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, no, I have Adams as well. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at Adams' standpoint for me specifically, and I've had this argument, my buddy Remy, he's a huge Rams fan, so he rides for Cooper Kupp, and there is an argument there. I'm not going to, argue against that. I just think Davante Adams is just more talented. I think you see it when you watch both of them play. I think Cooper Kupp is a technician. I think that he is ultra talented. It's not to say that Cooper Kupp is just skilled and he has no talent. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's not as talented as Davante Adams. We will see this year with Davante Adams in Las Vegas if that talent shines through with Derek Carr. and all those other weapons in that offense versus Cooper Kupp, who I think is going to have another outstanding season as long as he can stay healthy, as long as Matthew Stafford stays healthy. As far damn 4, whoa, that one caught me off guard, George. I can't drop Adams all the way to 4 unless
he. I don't know, man. I really liked what I saw out of Jamar Chase last year in his rookie year.
I get it.
I'm sorry, yeah, but
I get it.
Battle it out for number 1, dude.
I get it. I do get it. It just, I guess it really depends on what you're valuing in these receivers. I do get it, but just looking at, our lists comparatively, I think, one of the things that sticks out to me, Deebo Samuel at number 7 for me, I think, and number 10 for you.
10, yeah.
I had a conversation
Jason
with
has
Woods
him at 7 as well.
In the Woods was in the comments earlier today. I had a conversation with him. I actually worked with him about Deebo Samuel and how hard it is to kind of measure what he does, and how he is kind of in that same conversation with Lamar Jackson when you're ranking Lamar Jackson with quarterbacks.
For sure.
I've ranked Deebo Samuel off of what he does in the running game as a receiver.
Right.
But as an overall player, he's one of the best players in the league, right? So it's really hard to measure what Deebo Samuel does and how that plays into him being a wide receiver, but still he was 5th in receiving yards this season. So I don't know. It's really hard with Deebo Samuel, but I think the other hard part with ranking these wide receivers is what George points out, Jefferson and Jamar Chase, who are 2 guys. Jamar Chase is in his 3rd season this year. Jamar Chase, excuse me, is in his 2nd season. Justin Jefferson in his 3rd season this year. Going off of just what they've done in the NFL, I get why George would feel that way. My thoughts with Jamar Chase are interesting because there's a world where maybe he is just the best wide receiver in the NFL, and that could come true. That could come to fruition this year. But then there's another world where he's getting doubled and T. Higgins just goes off this season. There's part of me that sees that, but great receivers get open, and he's going to get his if he is as good as we think he is. So just interesting question marks across the board. Just some honorable mentions for myself. I know you had Mike Evans on the list. He was in my honorable mentions.
One that Jason mentioned, Terry McLaurin. What Jason has Keenan Allen on his list. And
Keenan Allen, another guy. Yeah, Keenan Allen.
Now you have CeeDee Lamb over Mike Evans. Thought process. I'm just curious.
Yeah, thought process, honestly. CeeDee Lamb being the focal point in that Dallas offense, they're going to air it out. And Dak, he puts up numbers, so they got to go somewhere. And I think CeeDee is an ultra-talented wide receiver. It is interesting how it kind of played out with my rankings, having him over A.J. Brown, because I view them almost in the same light as far as what they can do, but if it will actually come to fruition. But CeeDee Lamb, I look at him as purely a top 10 talent. We went over this 2 years ago during the draft process, and I really wanted him, but I just like what he's able to do overall as a wide receiver and what he's going to be in that Dallas offense. But there's an argument for Mike Evans over CeeDee. I'm with you.
And this comment is 100% true about Jason, and it's funny because when we did this list last year, I had Keenan Allen in top 10, and I think you did as well. Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of youth on this list now that I didn't have on the list last year. Yeah. Justin Jefferson was maybe 9 or 10 last year after his rookie year, but you had to see it. Jamar Chase obviously wasn't on this list yet. You have CeeDee Lamb. He wasn't on the list yet. Deebo wasn't on the list. I know he's not as young as the other guys, but he had a monster year last year that, you hadn't seen in the past. Yeah. That's why, Allen slipped kind of off of the top 10 for me, simply because you have a couple guys leapfrog them that are so young and so talented. The one thing I wanted to bring up before we get to the Bills-Dolphins conversation with Hill and Diggs, because I know Jason and George brought that up, but D-Hop, I have him at 6. And where do you have him?
I think I have him at 8.
You have him at 8?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you do. So I have him at 6. You have him at 8. And I feel like it's disrespectful from us. Like
I get it.
The suspension blinds you slightly because you know he's not going to be out there the first 6 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But dude, you're talking about a guy last year that was arguably the number 1 wide receiver in all of the NFL.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's really done anything to make you think otherwise.
Year, that's all.
Yeah.
He was just injured. That's it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't know. Maybe it's like
be top 3, top 5.
Maybe we're like jumping the gun, like the Julio Jones effect or something. Just imagining this cliff, but maybe it's not there yet.
We'll see.
I don't know. I know there's some people out there that probably have DeAndre Hopkins as still like their best wide receiver in the NFL, and I get that. Like I really do.
As far as like talent goes, like
talent,
1-on-1, pound for pound.
I don't know. It was hard. It is just a list, and it's partially your preference is what you want in a wide receiver. But it is hard balancing what players have done with what you think.
And what have you done for me lately? And what you project is also a balance. Like it's like power rankings almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this list, it's less likely to change as power rankings will because those will be more week to week. But this will be, after a month or two of football, we might change our mind on who in the now is a top 10 wide receiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So after 2 months in the season, if I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a name on this list. If Mike Evans is banged up and isn't producing the way he is, my list is going to change because in that moment, Mike Evans isn't a top 10 wide receiver, and I might have CeeDee Lamb or Terry McLaurin or someone like that slide up into that spot.
What about DK?
No.
It's hard, right? With Geno
DK,
Smith.
It's not even just that. I think quarterback aside, I don't think he's top 10. Simply like DK is just such a physical specimen. Like he's ginormous. You can't bring him down. But in terms of talent in a wide receiver, no, he's not top 10 for me. I think he's just so big and he's so fast for that size that it makes you think he's a lot better than he is. Like
he could get a lot better. He could get a lot better. He could grow.
Put it this way. A.J. Brown, he's not DK Metcalf size, but A.J. Brown is huge, right? But A.J. Brown is a talented wide receiver. A.J. Brown is a technician. He's got great footwork. He's got great hands.
Exactly.
He's got a big route tree. DK doesn't have that.
Waddle better than DK? I mean,
maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to argue because Waddle played good last year. He had a lot of short receptions. He had a lot of receptions, but a lot of them were very short. That being Tua. So it's like, what does Waddle look like without Tua? What does DK look like without Russell Wilson? So on
DK's
going
to struggle, bro. Struggle.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to struggle. But I don't think DK. This isn't going to be the year. I know
George, 110%. That's what I was saying. Like I only compared him because AJ Brown is one of those
bigger
wide receivers, such as DK. He's not DK size, but he's like that. Except he does everything you want in a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Big route tree, great hands, can high point the ball. He does everything.
Okay. While you're on AJ Brown there, I had him at 10. I think you had him at 9 or 8?
9, right?
So is there
at 9.
with my AJ Brown ranking here? 1, it's a lot of potential base, and maybe it's even biased in a sense.
I think we had him top 10 last year.
I'm pretty sure I did have him top 10 last year. Talent. The dude is talented.
Yeah.
Is there any world where he becomes a top 5 wide receiver this year? Is it possible?
Sure. Especially from what you're hearing out of Eagles camp, how much he's being targeted. So if AJ Brown's targeted 200 plus freaking times this season and his production goes buck wild in this offense because he's the focal point, sure, because then the talent's there. And if the production is Jamar Chase-esque, Justin Jefferson-esque, Mike Evans-esque from previous years in terms of touchdowns being scored, it's all going to factor in at the end of the season of where he'll rank compared to the others.
Like if he makes this passing off, like if this passing offense is explosive this year and AJ Brown's leading the way.
And I'm assuming from what I've heard.
I would hope that he's read one. I guess I'm just assuming if AJ Brown fulfills our assumptions and our expectations, makes this passing offense explosive compared to what it was last year, I think I'm going to be looking at AJ Brown in a little bit of a different light. He has to stay healthy, though. That is a huge part of it.
For sure. Last thing to go over in this top 10 list. Yeah. I don't want to take too much more time, but Stephon Diggs versus Tyreek Hill. You and I are on the same page with this one. The viewers, George and Jason, are on the same page. You and I have Hill 3. I have Diggs 5. You have Diggs 4. I think it's a very interesting topic because I think Stephon Diggs, in terms of, it sounds weird because it's like I'm going against my rankings from what a wide receiver is, but the technician that he is, the footwork, the hands, the route tree, everything he does, he has the speed. He could be the best wide receiver in football, pound for pound at times. But for me, in terms of what you bring to the table, Tyreek Hill is the most explosive player in the league. Tyreek Hill is the biggest threat in the league, but it's not just that. If Tyreek Hill was just speed, Tyreek Hill ran 2 routes and that's all he can do, there'd be no question he might not even be top 10. Tyreek Hill is the most explosive big play threat in the league, and he's also grown into one hell of a wide receiver.
Jason,
see, I disagree. Yeah, I disagree.
You just killed me with that one. That one was the one. I can't agree with that, man. I think that there is.
No, but I think he's grown into it. I agree. 2-3 years ago, I agree he was straight speed. That's why he wasn't as high for fantasy-wise, sure. But in terms of being a wide receiver, he was lower. I think he's grown into a hell of a wide receiver on top of the big play ability that I would rather, if I was building a team, I would rather have Tyreek Hill than Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. And I think that's where my basis comes from.
Right. He had Mahomes, but
Josh Allen.
Diggs has Josh Allen. Yeah. It's not that far. Yeah, it's not that far of a gap now.
There's people that argue that Josh Allen is better than Mahomes.
And I see George's point, in terms of predicting what he'll do this year. Sure,
that's fair.
Hill's numbers could go down, fair. or he's even more featured now that he's not next to Travis Kelce and 3 other wide receivers that Mahomes gets the ball to.
Garbage QBs. He played with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
Right, but back then,
airs it out, and then
when he was there, when he was in Minnesota, he wasn't considered, at least to me, a top 5 wide receiver. Top 10 wide, he was close. He was fringe top 10 back then. I think he's grown into this role.
This is disrespectful to Tyreek Hill. I think comments are getting disrespectful to Tyreek Hill. He is a game changer, man. You talked about it there. When defenses have to plan for a wide receiver, there are certain things you can't do against an offense with Tyreek Hill in it. You cannot put guys in the box with Tyreek Hill on an offense. That cannot happen.
Think about what he did.
It's like Steph Curry to an NBA court.
Think about what he did to Buffalo in the AFC divisional round. He took a 3-yard slant to the house, dude. That play, that route, that pass had no business being a touchdown. He's the only player in the league that could have made that a touchdown, and he did. And listen, we're really
why is that a counter?
We're splitting hairs here because I'm not discrediting Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs is top 5 wide receiver.
Right.
I just would prefer Tyreek Hill because I don't think Tyreek Hill is just a speed demon. I don't think he's just a deep threat.
I think that's where we differ. I look at Tyreek Hill as a technician.
I do now. I think he's grown into it the last 2 or 3 seasons.
You put Tyreek Hill out on one side of the field by himself on 3rd down, he's getting a first down. Yeah. He's getting open and he's getting a first down.
And I love this.
I don't know what to say. If this year, this will be the year where we find out. I'll agree there.
I disagree with them again. If
Tyreek Hill doesn't go off this year with Tua and he drops down because he's with Tua and not Patrick Mahomes,
for sure.
Then that's the conversation.
Sure.
But I look at Diggs and Hill, they're in the same boat. Buffalo has a great offense, a great scheme, great quarterback. Kansas City has a great offense, great scheme, great quarterback. Like, I don't understand why we're
George agrees that Waddle has better numbers. I don't agree. I don't agree. I think
Based
Waddle's
on
production
what?
will be I think he'll be better than he was last year because Tyreek Hill is across from him. But if anyone's going to explode in the offense, it's still going to be Tyreek Hill because he's this is another thing. Is he the most unguardable player in the league, Scotty? Is there an argument?
I think
an argument that he's the toughest cover?
I'm arguing him with like Devontae, but then George has Devontae Adams at 4th, so what I mean? I'm arguing Tyreek Hill up there with Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. So that's where I look at Tyreek Hill. I don't know.
Well, this was fun.
It was fun. It's interesting.
I can't wait for 2 weeks from now when we get into our quarterback rankings. Hopefully Cole tunes in for that one. Because a certain someone will not be on my list. But we're already over an hour mark, and we still have to do our division draft, Scotty.
I'm looking at Tyreek Hill, 3rd in reception, 7th in yard. I mean, I don't know, man. Stephon Diggs, 9th in receptions, 8th in yards. 6th in tight. I don't know. It's a close combo. I don't know. It just bothers me.
100%.
Tyreek Hill's catching here.
Scotty, who gets the first? I think you get the first pick this week, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Wonder where
I'm going, right?
Wonder where you're going. I just put that in there.
I was planning that all week. Josh Allen, that was my guy.
Thank you for that one. Well, with that being said, I'm going to take the man himself.
Oh man, this one's going to be tough. I'm going to go Stephon Diggs.
Damn, I was hoping I could pair him. You bitch. Where do I want to go? I'm going to go with Tre'Davious White.
That's a good pick. That's actually exactly where I was going to go. I'll go.
If you guys didn't tune into Xavier Howard.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't tune into last week's show, you missed the biggest blooper in Turf Talk history.
Speaking of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, seriously. Jesus. This one is tough, man. Huh.
While you're doing that, I just want to comment on Jalen.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not about Jalen Waddle. It's not that Jalen Waddle is not. I'm not saying that Jalen Waddle is not a good player. I just feel like you're arguing that Jalen Waddle is better than Tyreek Hill.
I think he just thinks that with the addition of Hill, it's going to elevate.
I just had to comment on that, Jason. You know I love you, man, but Waddle, I get it. Waddle's a solid player. I just don't know that he's.
Dude, this is tough because I'm going linebacker.
Who are you feeling?
I'm going to go Matthew Judon.
Okay,
I don't know if he's the best linebacker in the division, but he's probably the biggest edge rusher. I think else is there, but
he's arguably the best linebacker. I am going to go. Let me go Micah Hyde. Safety.
Let me go with. I'll go Von Miller.
That's where I was kind of thinking of going last pick.
This one's tough, dude.
Is Emmanuel Ogbah, is that an edge? He's on the Dolphins. I thought he's a linebacker. I'll take Emmanuel Ogbah at linebacker.
All right. I know he's injured, but I'm going to go with Jordan Poyer.
Yeah. And I'll go Jalen Waddle for my man Jason.
There you go. I'm going to go Sheldon Rankins.
Okay, like that. I'm going to go Ed Oliver from Buffalo. Defensive tackle.
All right. I'm going to go Shaq Lawson.
Like, who are the tight ends?
Gesicki, Hunter Henry, Uzoma, Dawson Knox. There's some talented tight ends. Borderline top 10 kind of guys.
Right. Let me go. Let me grab my. No, let me not do that. Let me grab my other defensive tackle. I just saw him. Who did I see? Oh, Quinnen Williams. That's who I want.
Damn. All right, I'm going to grab
Damn, I don't got no edge.
Yeah, I'm about to take another two. I'm taking Greg Rousseau.
Fair enough. It's a good one. So, who do you have so far? So I
need a tackle, but you have a tackle. We both need a safety and a corner still, and both need a running back and tight end.
Let me go Sauce Gardner from my other corner. Just because I like him. Hasn't played it down yet. I love him.
Poyer and Hyde are gone. I'll go Devin McCourty.
Who knows? Maybe Sauce can turn into like the next Revis.
Yeah, there you go.
So what am I looking at here? I've got my corners. I need one safety, one linebacker, two edges, and a tight end and running back. So basically, we can just pick now. It's not really a way to get ahead anymore.
Tight end, and running back are the only evens, like where we both need one.
So my other linebacker, I think I still need one. I'm gonna go Jerome Baker from Dolphins as well.
All right, I'm gonna go corner. Would you go Kyer Elam or would you go Byron Jones?
I would probably go Byron Jones.
Yeah.
I don't know. Byron Jones, I think, is a better player. I think the only reason I didn't pick him is because he was out, but it doesn't hurt in this draft, honestly. And good call, Jason. Tremont Edmonds. That's who I was forgetting about on my linebacker pick. That's actually who I was going to pick, but it's all
you good. Want him? No, you can take him over Baker.
Yeah, if you don't mind. Yeah, I'll take Tremont Edmonds. That's who I wanted.
I was thinking about him when I took Vaughn, but.
So is it my pick?
Yeah, you're up still. Okay. Yeah.
So I'll take. I think I need an edge.
Two edges.
I'll take Carl Lawson from the Jets. He's the edge.
All right. I'll go Dawson Knox.
Nice.
I don't know if he's the best. I mean, splitting hairs here. Is it Hunter Henry? Yeah. Is it Mike Gesicki? Is it Dawson Knox? I don't freaking know.
I'll go Mike Gesicki at tight end from the Dolphins. I'm like getting dolphined up out here.
All right. Dude, I don't know who the best running back in this division is. Seriously, they're all just a bunch of guys. What the hell?
Yeah,
Chase Edmonds, or Breece Hall?
Breece Hall's picking up some speed, bro. I don't know. Because like Chase Edmonds, he was
Jason saying Singletary. It's not like I don't disagree. I just like I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go with the upside. I'm just gonna try to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows?
The
We'll
unknown
see.
is better in this situation, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Javon Holland at my other safety spot. Get that out the way.
Is that Holland?
Yeah, correct.
All right. Wide receiver 2. I guess I'll go. Oh wait, you already took Waddle. Shit. Oh, Elijah Moore.
Yeah, love Elijah Moore.
I need a tackle in my QB. You need a running back and an edge. Yep.
So what do we got left on the edge? Certainly nothing crazy. Let me go. Let me go, Lawrence Guy from the Pats.
All right. Kind of make George and Jason mad. I'm going Mac Jones.
Running back. Hardest decision of the day.
Seriously.
Devin Singletary or Chase Edmonds. I'll go Chase Edmonds.
Spelled that incorrectly, didn't I? No, I didn't. Wow.
I think it's good.
I need a tackle. I'll take my cousin, the Davis, Raekwon.
I like it.
All right. Here are our 2022 all AFC East division draft. Let me snag that for the graphic. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to get all of them put separately, obviously, but I'm going to get all of them done at one time, our previous couple drafts. Put them out all together. I would probably say our NFC West draft has been the most even, probably the best draft we've done.
I agree.
But nonetheless, they've all been pretty good.
It's these divisions with like the quarterback imbalances are the one where it looks a little odd. Because it's like if you get first pick, you win this draft with Josh Allen. Like
right.
Unless somebody supremely like screws up the rest of the draft.
I think the draft. I think I had Rodgers in the one, and you had to go with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and the NFC North.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So it's always tough. Like I said, as I was trying to explain last week, you try to get an edge wherever you can in a position, and a certain someone slipped my mind. However, I did that. I do not know, but and yeah, I agree. Scotty has won this round, but like I said, we'll get them all posted. We'll get them up on the DSM pages on the TikTok and all, and we'll have some fun with it. Let you guys vote if you would like to. Scotty, I think that is going to wrap up this episode. No, we did not get to talk Eagles camp, but we will be able to talk about that and their first preseason game next week here on Turf Talk, 10 a.m., streaming to you guys on DSM Media. Check us out at DSM_media on Twitter. Hit that follow button. Head over to the link tree in our bio. Take you to every social media platform we're on. Like I said, we stream to you guys on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter channel. If you want to get involved with the episodes, head on over to our YouTube page, hit that subscribe button, and that's where you can comment along questions, thoughts, concerns, whatever you guys got for us. That is going to wrap up this edition of Turf Talk. Everybody have a great rest of your day.